we have been trained to minimize waste. Second is we will try to do as much as possible analytical modeling, computer modeling, simulation, than actual hardware making, which will turn out to be costly. I must tell you that the biggest companies ever who worked for us, they have worked for us because of a passion that we have created in them. We were able to produce hardwares in Indian industry at substantially lower cost than could be done anywhere in the world.
I heard you speaking that you were saying that in 80s you were thinking of leaving, but you stayed, and we are very happy that you stayed because we have the ISRO and we have the story and successes today.
So we tell people, you look for failure every time something is working successfully. If something is working successfully for the first time, we become more worried. So it looks funny that all of us are highly critical and skeptical people. Top people start stopping doing technical work.
Yeah.
After some years, they will be more of looking at the spreadsheets and PowerPoint slides. But I am not of that type. My 50% of my time is into core technical work, which is developing, designing, configuring of complex systems.
You're a man of science, technology, space, logic. But I want to ask you this question, and this is on behalf of a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of us who live with this constraint mindset that we have less. Today, ISRO, the cost at which you operate, everything that you showed, is, I'm told, 1/50th of what NASA spends. How do you do that? How do you bring this innovation with this much of budget?
No, I won't agree with that number of 1/50th. It's maybe in terms of the overall budget allocation, you may be 1/50th. But the value of the stuff that you are doing can't be that drastically lower than NASA. After all, it is materials which will cost you the same everywhere in the world. So in terms of the overall way of operating, we are, of course, in terms of operationals or in terms of development cost, we are lower than many others. That is a fact. It comes out of various reasons. One, the nature of development is frugal. Okay, while we start talking about a project, we start discussing how to contain the cost. This is very much part of the whole discussion within the organization. So not to bloat up the cost and show a very high number so that we will handle the risk of doing it at a later time, so we will ask for more money. No, we will ask for the least amount of money. So that's the principle of budgeting. So this is followed internally.
Everyone will understand this here in this room. Yes. Yes, sir.
Because if I ask more money, it's not going to come. I know it.
That is also true.
Government is not going to give you, luxuriously budget. Absolutely not. So why? And we are in need of the project. Yeah. So we will try to project a lowest number and do it within that money. So this is one nature. And many a times I have seen our budgets don't overshoot. We were able to contain the cost reasonably, except some very rare cases where the cost increases. It comes out of various reasons. One, that we have been trained to minimize waste. Second is we will try to do as much as possible analytical modeling, computer modeling, simulation, than actual hardware making, which will turn out to be costly. But the most important reason for low cost is our Indian industries itself. I must thank them, because all of them do work for ISRO, not with a profit motive.
Yeah.
It's something very phenomenal. I must tell you that the biggest companies ever who worked for us, they have worked for us because of a passion that we have created in them.
Yeah.
Because they love to work with ISRO. I can show examples and examples. Because working with ISRO gives them an edge in terms of skilling and knowledge, in terms of their ability to handle more complex projects for other customers, not for us. Because through the process of doing for us, many of them have become extremely good in terms of manufacturing engineering. Not that we are great in that stuff, but our demand is much more stricter, and the processes that we will develop will always be of world class. So this has helped industries to scale up, and many of them who were moderate suppliers at one point in time rose up to the international class of suppliers because of the association with ISRO. It's something really phenomenal. And the benefit come to them through that process, not really through the profit that they get from the work done by us. So we were able to produce hardwares in Indian industry at substantially low cost than could be done anywhere in the world. I can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and sir, I heard you speaking that you were saying that in 80s you were thinking of leaving, but you stayed, and we are very happy that you stayed because we have the ISRO and we have the story and successes today. But it also tells us that any endeavor of this significance requires a lot of time, a lot of patience. And you talked about for every success, there are also a lot of failures, a lot of failed attempts. How do you, in ISRO, what is the mindset that you cultivate? Because all of us want success very quickly. And this is very important for all of us as entrepreneurs and startups because we fail a lot of times.
No, space is some area where the characteristics has to be different than conventional industries. So this I tell my young people all the time, you have to be extremely skeptical. Know how to become very goal-oriented, very ambitious, but at the same extremely skeptical. It has to be like that. You have to tell that this is going to fail. Okay. So we tell people, you look for failure every time something is working successfully. If something is working successfully for the first time, we become more worried. Okay. So, so you know, how come it worked very successfully the very first time? So there must be some magic or that you understood everything. So it's very difficult for anyone to understand how things work. Even though you have the knowledge, skill, but there are 100 and odd reasons that you can say it can go wrong. Okay, so how to analyze things that can go wrong and how to fix it in the design, in the production, in the assembly, in testing is a characteristic that we build in. Second is we plan testing in large numbers. So we have a certain quality norms. For that we need to go through certain batches, testing and validation, and then establish a process and produce it appropriately. So this culture is very important. Even before launch, the first question asks, what are the ways by which this launch can fail? Not that how it's going to be successful this time, no. So it looks funny that all of us are highly critical and skeptical people. And the moment that you become very, you say things are going to happen very good, then failure is imminent. Okay, so we say that the moment that you become very happy about things are going very well, then we are very sure that there is a failure waiting.
So I would urge all of us to be very skeptical and hopefully we will have a very successful event. Sir, my other question to you is, in terms of, you know, there are a lot of, and I saw that you are working with startups and doing a lot, and we have some very successful startups now in the space. So if you could tell us what are some of the initiatives that you're doing to engage with startups and how can companies work with you?
No, some of them requires internal facilities for them. For example, the company Skyroot and Agnikul, who built the rockets, they wanted their launch pads to be built in Sriharikota. And they wanted fuel, they wanted ground supports, even our people's advice and guidance to build all of that, so that we provided. Then again, entire launching and simulation time, we personally were present to help them to understand and learn. So, understand, we people are spending time without any money or remuneration from their side. It's a free service that we have been giving to these companies to come up.
Again, I would say applause. And they're not investors. They're not venture capitalists. Like, we have to appreciate what is India. Hum kehte na Bharat 3.0. See, these are our people and our leaders we need to appreciate. Yes?
Yeah. And similarly, when they started developing hardware, they needed test facilities. And many of the test facilities cannot be created with a small investment. Many of them are very costly. So we allowed them to use time-shared facilities, which we have in terms of liquid engine testing, vibration testing, environmental testing, electronic testing of various nature. I think all these facilities were shared with them. And then we also gave them consultancy, again, in terms of advices on design reviews and things like that. And process writing, how to write the proper processes, I think all of these advices were given to them. We also gave them materials and also standard products and parts which we built for use in their systems. I think all these are happening now. So I think you can take better to speak to them and get the feedback rather than me speaking about it.
Yeah, so basically a lot is happening and you can engage with ISRO. Sir, there are two personal questions I want to ask you. And maybe now I'm 15 years old of doing TechSparks, so I can take the liberty of asking. One is when I look at a leader like you, and then I look at organizations like SpaceX and Elon Musk, whom all of us look up to and think like, oh, what a success. Someone like you can easily also, you know, like I don't want to compare, but I'm saying that what goal drives you? Because today, you're not a billionaire sitting next to me, but there is so much respect that I would respect you more than hundreds of billionaires. What is the life choice, goal choice? Because when we come to places like this, हम सबको millionaire बनना है, हमको billionaire बनना है, हमें गाड़ी चाहिए, बंगला चाहिए, सब कुछ चाहिए, funding चाहिए, but you've lived a life of purpose. What does it mean? What has it taken for you to be here and you?
No, it's a very difficult question. Everybody likes to be a billionaire. I too. But I am a government servant. So, an official under the boundaries of the government. I need to operate within the boundaries and constraints and controls to do things what I am doing now, which is very difficult and challenging. But it is also inspiring in another manner that with those constraints and boundaries, we still have people who are envisioning things, and we are allowing us to do things with the resources that could be spared from the government. I think this is really fantastic. Yeah. And I must thank the government specifically for allowing such projects to happen, because the demand for money is so much in various sectors. So from that, we are getting this much of allocation. Second part is about the what drives you. I think it's primarily coming from the inspirational part of the work that we do. See, it's not easy to find a chairman or a secretary of a government of India involved in minute technical details. You know, many of the top people start stopping doing technical work. After some years. They will be more of looking at the spreadsheets and PowerPoint slides. But I am not of that type. My 50% of my time is into core technical work, which is developing, designing, configuring of complex systems. So I am like a child when I see that work. I get extreme high joy of doing it, even with my young people, asking them to do this or that and come back with a result, and then we'll review it. I think the pleasure of doing that cannot be compared in terms of money or returns of various nature. So it's something phenomenal that keeps you young, it keeps you active. So that is some real part of the inspiration. And it is not for me alone, it's for many others in the organization who are in leadership positions. They are not just managers. They are all techno managers, which high competence in high technical capability, able to drive people and organizations and management simultaneously. So this is a very unique organization. We still continue to enjoy technical work, really. Yeah.
And sir, I have this question. You're a man of science, and I've asked you this question before. You're a man of science, technology, space, logic. You know, the more you see space, how is your belief in God, in spirituality? Do you believe in all these things? Religion. Not religion, but I'll say God.
I'm not a believer of God.
Okay.
I am a seeker of God, I rather say, because I do not know whether God is there. Wow. So, for scientific people, we look for proof.
Yes.
So I don't have any proof. So I am searching for the proof, whether God is there or not, but it is not negating the concept of God, but it is it's something that I need to find out myself. So I am exploring. All through the years, I have been exploring. I will continue to explore. Without saying it is not there, or it is there, I am trying to find out.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. And last, I would say, you know, this is just such an inspiring moment. I was just seeing that next month is former President Abdul Kalam's birthday. And I would like to ask that if he was alive today and if he had to look at ISRO and what you've done, how do you think he would rate the work done?
No, I have been fortunate enough to interact with him many times in his while he was alive. During his days when he was in government, later as president and post-retirement time. Because many of the time when we had problems in our rockets, he will be interested to know what are the details. So I used to go to Delhi and brief him. So that type of interest, keen interest he used to keep. And I think he is a very unique personality who knows how to organize things around and then make it an impact of what we are doing. And I am very sure that if you see the current ISRO, he will be very, very happy and proud because he left a legacy of people and leadership who became my mentors and leaders. So I think I am a product of his chelas and boys. So I should be thankful to him as well.
Thank you so much, sir. I again have to say on behalf of each one of us that this is an inspiration. You are an inspiration, and we are very proud to have a leader like you in our country. Yes, thank you. And with that, I think it's a great spark to TechSparks. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.